What's up, everybody? This is Sam with hitthewoodline.org and On the Apparatus Training and Consulting. Wanted to come to you with a new playlist of sorts. It's going to be several episodes. I don't know how many because there's only so much that I can really share that isn't already out there. But it's just going to be Setup Solutions. It's just going to be the title of the playlist is Setup Solutions. Just giving little tips and tricks of stuff that I learned along the way I do things, kind of explaining why. Before I get started, I do want to make a pretty big announcement. I'm now sponsored by AT Armor, which is really huge. Mike and them are great dudes. I actually bought my first set of armor from them probably 7 years ago, I'm wanting to say. I bought some level 4 Hescos and a old gen APC, and that was the start of the love affair that is armor. So anyways, with that being said, if you are in the market for a new set of armor, or any other type of nylon gear that they have, go ahead and check out their website. I'm going to have a link in the comments below. I'd appreciate if you use that link. It's an affiliate link. I get a little bit of a kickback from it. It helps fund the channel and all the other things that I'm trying to do right now. So if you're already in the market for it, you're going to be buying it anyways. May as well help me out. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. Today I'm going to talk real briefly about slings and the way I set them up. So slings are, let me go ahead and safe the weapon. Empty mag, empty chamber. Slings are a pretty personal thing. You've got kind of generations of people who use slings. You got the old dudes that are using single points off the rear QD. Nobody really does that anymore except for sub guns. Single points have kind of been phased out because I think a lot of people realize that they're kind of a niche item. And they weren't really that useful on long guns, especially, like 14, 16, 20-inch carbines and rifles. It just, not a lot of stability there. You get a lot of movement, but you sacrifice a ton of stability. So how do I set my slings up? And this is kind of something that I've learned over the years, bits and pieces from different instructors and just trial and error on my end. For me, and slings in themselves are personal. This is Sierra Tac sling. I wanted to try a lightly padded sling. So far I'm really liking it. This is the Spirited Systems Sierra Tac collaboration sling of a thing in multicam arid, because why not? It was also one of the colors in stock when I ordered. And I wanted something a little bit different. The way I set my slings up, it's just like I said, it's a personal thing. So for me, I like a 2-point sling. I want contact points at the farthest points of the rifle if I can get them. A lot of people will say, hey, you sacrifice a lot as far as maneuverability with that, and you do to a degree, but it really depends on how you set it up. I apologize if you can hear kids in the background. It's Thanksgiving break and we're watching some kids from my kids' school. So I basically got an entire kindergarten recess in my backyard. Lord help us. So the way I set mine up is a QD in the front, and then I run it through the stock in the rear. That's a Magpul SLS stock, in case anyone's curious. It's a I think it's a Sons of Liberty QD cup and a literally like probably 8 or 9 or maybe even 10-year-old BCM QD swivel. I haven't had any issues out of those in all the years that I've been using it, and I've literally used that one on every rifle so far. The way I set these up, like I said, is a fixed attachment in the rear and a QD in the front. Now the reason for that is if I'm slung up, I have all the benefits of a traditional 2-point sling positioning. The things I do to conceal my identity. Anyways, so as it's in a traditional position, if it's up under my arm, I can still present the rifle. No problem. I can still maneuver with the rifle. That's the same thing with a pack on. The only difference is with a pack, I run my stock in one, and that gives me that added maneuverability with the pack on. I don't really have to do that with a chest rig or anything like that, but with a pack I do. So as you can see, it's pretty tight still though. It's not as maneuverable as if it was as a really loose sling. I don't like a really loose sling. The reason being is we have to be, riflemen in a way, and we need to aid ourselves as much as possible. So within this position, in presentation, let me try and get myself in a shot here. If I was needing to take, kick my magnifier over, I have a low percentage shot or a shot that requires a higher level of accuracy or consistency, I can actually take and bring my arm down, and as I bring my arm down, it tightens that sling into my body, and it really shores up that shooting position from the standing. So that's the same thing. It's the same thing for kneeling. I could, if it was loose enough, I could go to a sling supported position that's extremely steady if I needed to. And then if I needed any type of maneuverability, let's say I was needing to do a reload or something like that, I just swim out like you just saw. So it's from here, I swim out, I do a reload, I do whatever tasking I need to do. I then gain that maneuverability. So if I was having to, you know, bring the rifle up or under if I needed to, I could, as well as run with the rifle. That's a little bit different. I kind of do this maneuver right here when I run, maybe something else on that later. So with that, I don't have to adjust the sling any, and that's a big thing for me. I want the sling to be an aid more than just a holster for my rifle. So if I needed to go hands-on, not necessarily with like a combatant, I think that's kind of a skewed thing. I don't know anyone who's going to be like running around the corner and run into a threat and be like, hold on, let's fight. Like, that's not going to happen. But if I need to go hands-on, say with a casualty, say I'm having to work on somebody, if I didn't have the time to sling it around me for some reason, I could cinch it down and then it's not moving. It's going to stay there. If I was needing to scale a ladder and maybe I didn't want to bring it around behind me for some reason, I can still cinch it down, and then when it's out, I'm able to present it if I need to and still do work. The same thing is like if I was needing to sling it behind me, I just tighten it about halfway. I don't tighten it all the way. Bring it around. That gives me pretty much all of the retention I need at that particular point. I can still bring it around if I need to, take the slack out of it, and I'm back in the same position as I was. When it's necklaced, I get pretty much the exact same maneuverability as if someone had a QD point at the rear of the rail. Now, with that being said, something you can do is if you want to run dual QDs, you can put a QD cup back here, and then I have done this in the past. If you're someone who likes to keep the sling retained around their body, they don't really like the idea of necklacing it. Some people are like that. I can understand why. You could take it, slap it into the QD there, and then you get basically the same thing I do via necklace mode with a little bit more retention. So some people do that with plate carriers and body armor. I kind of touched on that in the past on a different video because when you're doing something that involves body armor, you're doing a lot of close quarter stuff, it may be beneficial to go ahead and have that more secured to your body. For me, necklacing it works pretty much exactly the way I want it to. Now, the last little tidbit is why I run fixed in the rear and QD in the front. So for me, what I have found over the years using different stocks that use QD in the rear is it gets kind of sloppy. I would go to present the rifle and the sling would drop down, depending on how the sling was and the position that I was in. It would actually drop down below the stock, and then when I wanted to go to do anything, it would actually hook on the toe of the stock. It'd just be kind of weird. I'd go to drop the rifle for a transition and do this weird flop maneuver because the sling is actually hung around the stock. So for me, I like it fixed in the rear. It's also quieter and it's also lighter. That it's kind of a moot point as far as lightness goes, because I mean, it's just a QD cup. It's not a whole lot of ounces, but it is ounces. Ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain, all that good stuff. For me, it's very secure and it's quiet, which is really the two main things. I don't have to worry about it slopping around or anything like that. You may be asking, hey, why not just 550 cord it to the front, or what I've seen some people do, actually run the sling through the M-lock slots on that side. The reason being is I still want to be able to take the gun off if I need to. So for me in my area, you can see behind me, there's lots of trees, lots of branches. In the area that I go, if I do any type of rural patrolling or anything like that, there's a lot of bluff lines, a lot of slide lines. If I was to slide down one of those embankments or take a fall or something like that, and this snags on a branch and now all of a sudden it's choking me to death, I then have the ability to QD that off of here, see if I, like that, without having to introduce a knife into the situation. About the only thing that would make that situation worse is introducing a live blade into the problem and then slicing myself in an artery or an arm and causing insult to injury, as it were. So you can't really do that with 550 cord or wrapping it around the handguard. I know Blue Force Gear makes the now QD U-loop. Used to, it wasn't QD. I've tried it on AKs in the past. It worked okay, but I didn't have that QD ability. I know now they have one that's QD. I've never messed with it, but to me, I can't imagine it being more intuitive or as intuitive as just pushing the button and pulling it off. Likewise for maintenance, if it's not hard mounted on there, I can pop it off. If I need to separate my upper, I can pop it off. separate the upper from the lower, do whatever maintenance I need to, put it back together. Storage like in a bag or something like that, same deal. They're not, I don't know if anyone's ever, or if you have ever had a sling attached to the rear and a sling attached to the front, hard mounted, and then all of a sudden you've got two freaking giant nunchucks basically that you're having to deal with. It just kind of gets annoying. It gets twisted around. The sling's not in the right position when you put it all back together. You got to take it back off, twist it back around, put it back together. It just kind of gets old and annoying. So that's really the main reason I use a QD in the front. I have people say that it's louder. It is a little bit louder. But when it's tight on your body, which if you wear your gear and you wear your pack and everything else, your rifle stays pretty tight to your body. It's not really that big of an issue. Same thing, I was lightly concerned with the Sierra Tac sling having this metal swivel. It does make sound when it contacts, but I have yet to have it contact. So I think a lot of us, and myself included, overthink things and overanalyze things as far as sound and noise discipline and stuff like that go. Anything you can do to minimize that, hey, that's great. But I don't notice a ton of issues with that front QD. I did, however, have a lot of issues with the rear QD doing that, because it would tend to, every time I'd shoulder the rifle or move it, it would flop one way or the other and smack into the stock or it'd smack in the QD cup, and it would ring out pretty good. One thing I do is, if you can see that when I run the webbing through, I run it twice. So it's over, up, and then it's actually cut here. So up and around, up, and I cinch it and secure it back. That actually helps a little bit to add a little bit of noise discipline, because then it doesn't smack quite as readily on the handguard or anything else. So setup solutions, that's just my deal. You can do it however you want to. There are ways that are just better. The biggest thing is make sure that your sling is set up to aid you as more than just a holster. That's what I see a lot of people doing is they get a sling, they go, okay, it's just there to hold the rifle to my body. They run it super loose because it's just there to hold it to my body, and then they're like, I'm going to cinch it all the way down, and then it's just going to be kind of tight. Most people end up with a rifle about as tight as this when it's cinched all the way down, and then they just don't really have any added benefits to it. Again, the biggest thing for me is having the ability to improve my fighting position or my shooting position by just literally dropping that arm in more of a classic rifleman stance. That's something that was taught long ago, back when the slings were actually used as a 2-point configuration. On the bottom, you'd swim into the sling, use it to tighten your rifle, improve your shooting position, thus increasing hit factor and accuracy. So that's the biggest thing for me, is I can take it from here, drop down, secure my position a little bit better. It's a lot steadier if I need to, as well as if I need to, I can still maneuver. I can do everything I need to do except for reloads and things like that. And that's when I take just half that second to bring my elm in, and then secure my arm in and swim out of it and use it in a necklace formation. So anyways, guys, that was setup solution for slings. If there's anything else in here or on the rifle that you're curious about, different ways that I've got stuff set up, the whys and hows and twos and things like that, let me know in the comments. I'll try and make those. What will be at some point is the 100 Concepts lock cap. I'll be talking about that at some point and kind of comparing it to the venerable Butler Creek cap that most of us have used in the past. So far, I am really liking this. Bit of a learning curve. I tend to actually do that when I use it and then bring it up over. But we'll see. Time will tell as that goes on. I just got it in and I'm testing that out. So anyways, guys, take it easy, stay safe. As always, comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is that YouTube algorithm needs. And again, if you're needing armor, go check out AT Armor. Use that link in the comments. Helps me out, helps you out, helps them out. Everybody's happy. Take it easy.